It has been almost a year since Cordelius became a fighter in our favorite arena, and there has been no news from him for a long time, as if he never existed. In fact, after becoming a brawler, he felt very happy. People came to him every day and fought with him. Everything was fine, but over time, everything changed. As time went on, the number of fights in his forest decreased, and one day the number became 0. Many brawlers stopped liking the enchanted forest. They stopped having fights there, and Cordelius felt the bitter taste of loneliness again. He can't leave the forest. It's his curse. So he started to go crazy again. Byron's help gradually came to naught. Once Shelley visited Cordelius sometimes when she found time.
I'm so sorry that it happened. I thought that after becoming a brawler, everything would be fine with you.
Unfortunately, waiting is not equal to reality. Always so. Do not think that no one tried to get Cordelius out of the forest. Shelley tried, and more than once. But when she tried to go out at the same time, she calmly went out. But Cordelius hit an invisible wall and fell to the ground. So all this is in vain.
I'm trying to convince the brawlers to fight here again. Everything will be fine. The main thing is to believe Cordelius. I believe.
Over time, the number of these visits became 0. Cordelius was left completely alone, and Byron's treatment came to naught. From time to time, he completely lost control of himself and went mad from his utter loneliness. His days passed so terribly. Nothing changed. It seemed that it would never change, but one day came that changed everything. And who is this? An unfamiliar girl fearlessly entered the forest. There was no one around. For her, it was all wildly interesting. What if there was magic here? She was drawn to such forbidden places and knowledge. This gloomy and eerie forest had to be searched for a long time. And finally, the wait was justified. She really liked it. Where did you come, girl? You better run away from here before it's too late. She didn't think about it. On the contrary, she walked and studied everything that caught her eye. What if someone still lives here? What unusual predatory plants are found here, and mushrooms too, rather poisonous. Is it really true that no one lives here? After these words, she heard someone muttering. Someone does live there after all. It was Cordelius, who had gone mad from loneliness. He was incredibly happy to see here a living being, a human. He asked, is she a new brawler? No matter how strange it may sound, the girl did not even know about the ring and who the brawlers were, so she replied that she didn't understand what he was talking about at all. Cordelius thought about it. She became a little scared. What a monster! The fighter whirled thoughts in his head. Since there was no brawler in front of him, maybe he asked her to stay with him. It was so lonely here. There was no one to talk to, spend time with, laugh, rejoice, cry. The girl didn't understand why he would not come out of the forest and find friends for himself. Because he is cursed. This forest is his prison, and he cannot get out. The girl got very scared. Cordelius kept asking her to stay with him, but plucking up courage, the girl said no. She will live here now. No, where will she go? Cordelius was jammed by her words. He began to mutter to himself. Then he took out his gun and said that he would not let her go anywhere. My God, he lost control of himself. The girl wanted to run away, but Cordelius shot her and she fell to the ground unconscious. He was not going to let her go anywhere. No one was his friend, no brawler. He was still lonely, but today everything will change. She will become his only and true friend. What have you done, Cordelius? What have you done? He said and recalled yesterday's horror. He was afraid of himself. How could he do that? He literally lost himself and could not control his body. Suddenly, a predatory plant spat out the girl. My God, Cordelius trembled when he saw her. Was this his fault? He ruined the life of a poor girl. Just look at how she was changed. Nothing human remains of her. She has become like a female version of Cordelius. A couple of minutes later, she opened her eyes. The fighter thought that the girl remembers everything. In fact, no, her memory is empty. One might say that she was only born today. Realizing this, Cordelius immediately introduced himself as not just a friend, but her father. She stood up and remained silent. The fighter didn't understand why she was not talking. They stood for 5 minutes and it dawned on him that not only did she not remember anything, but she also became dumb. Cordelius didn't know how he would live with this burden. He considered himself a monster. Shelley couldn't find a place for herself. All this time she had not gone to Cordelius for a reason. The girl had failed to convince the brawlers to fight in the enchanted forest.
How can I go to him and look into his eyes and say that I couldn't do anything after all? I told him, I promised that everything would be fine, and everything became even worse. What should I do?
The girl didn't know what to do. She left him alone. So it is impossible either.
Shelley, pull yourself together. You have to tell him everything as it is, and then you will figure out how to help him.
Oh, Shelley, when you find out what he has done, your promise will be trivial. The next day, Shelley came to Cordelius again at the first in a long time. She didn't know how she would explain everything to him. Having plucked up courage and entering the forest, she saw not what she expected. The brawler was not alone. Cordelius was frightened. He didn't expect to see her. Why did she come? Shelley came up and asked to explain what was going on here. Cordelius began to invent everything on the go. He said that this was Lily, his old acquaintance.
Lily? Familiar? What kind of fairy tales? I know everything about you, Cordelius. You don't have any signs. Tell me the truth.
He didn't know what to say. Shelley wouldn't believe anything.
Why is she silent? What's wrong with her?
Cordelius began to mutter to himself. He was losing control. This must not be allowed. The fighter tried to calm down. Shelley became uncomfortable. He somehow pacified himself and said that we needed to talk in private. Asking Lily to wait for him, they walked away with Shelley, and before explaining everything, Cordelius said that he was very sorry for what he had done.
What are you talking about? What have you done?
Cordelius said that in a state of affect, he turned an innocent girl into this incomprehensible creature. She just came to explore the forest, and because of his long loneliness and feeling of betrayal on the part of the Brawler country, he decided not to let her go and make her his friend in order to fill the void in his heart. She became dumb and does not remember anything. He said that he is her father, and he invented the name Lily on the go. That's the whole story.
Cordelius, I don't know what to tell you. You acted like a monster.
Shelley ran away from the enchanted forest in fear. Lily didn't understand anything. Cordelius sighed her with relief. He hoped that Shelley would not come here again. Days passed and Cordelius, forgetting the past, got used to Lily. With her he again became happy and didn't feel lonely. He taught her to use her abilities. She became a strong girl. Lily always wanted to go outside the forest, but he told her that they could not leave the forest in any way. This was their curse. She was very upset because of this, but she obeyed Cordelius because she considered him her father. Everything was wonderful. Although Lily was always silent, she could communicate with gestures and explain everything she needed. That was enough for happiness. Time passed and nothing but a trouble, but Shelly couldn't live and forget all this. She came to the forest again, which surprised Cordelius, and greeting only Lily, asked him to tell the whole truth to the poor girl. How long is he going to live with this burden? Lily didn't understand anything. Cordelius said in anger to Shelly to leave the forest.
I'm not going anywhere. If you don't tell Lily the whole truth right now, I will.
Cordelius was at a dead end. He only felt happy, not lonely. But what will happen when Lily finds out everything? Yes, she will not be able to leave the forest. But what will her reaction be? He was scared. Shelly kept waiting for him to tell the truth. Lily stood and didn't understand anything. Cordelius asked Shelly to retire and talk, but she stood her ground. He had no choice. He plucked up courage and said that he was not her father. He had deceived her. She was an ordinary girl who entered this forest out of interest, and he caught her, turned her into this incomprehensible creature, and lied about everything so as not to be lonely. Lily began to tremble when she heard all this. If she could speak, she would scream with all her might and tell Cordelius the worst words in the world. She burst into tears and ran away from there. Cordelius shouted to stop. She would not be able to leave the forest. But Lily desperately ran to the exit. What? How? How did she leave the forest? Cordelius shuddered. He was sure that she, like him, couldn't leave the forest, but she could. He was left alone in his prison again. Loneliness is his only friend. Why did you come, Shelly? Shouted at the top of his voice. She ran after Lily. You can't leave her alone. Lily was crying. She couldn't believe that her reality was a blatant lie. She used to be a normal person who could speak. And now, who was she? Cordelius, the monster! Shelly found the girl, approached her and tried to console her. It's very difficult for Cordelius, but it can be understood. But that doesn't mean anything. He will get his punishment. Nothing can be undone now. We need to move forward, to leave.
Everything will be all right. I promise. Trust me.
Sobbing, Shelly took Lily home and introduced her to Kit, a talking cat. They had somewhat similar stories. He was in prison too, and she saved him, and now he's a brawler in the ring. She's not alone, and Kit is the only brawler like that. There are many with their own quirks, and each with their own tragic story. These words made Lily feel a little better.
There are many different brawlers in the ring. You definitely won't be alone.
The girl didn't want to live with Cordelius anymore, but Shelly had no intention of returning her there. Cordelius' actions were truly horrible, and despite this, Shelly wouldn't tell anyone about if she could help the girl. But to help Lily, everything needed to be told to the council. She couldn't just keep her at home.
Rest today, and tomorrow we have important matters to attend to.
She brought her to the council and explained that Cordelius had ruined the poor girl's life. He had gone mad from loneliness and committed such an act. The council was horrified by what had been happening lately in the ring. They had recently been favorable to Ems, and now another brawler was behaving even worse. They couldn't believe what was happening. Shelly tried not to condemn Cordelius. No one wanted to fight in the forest. He was left alone and went mad. Nothing could justify such brutality, the council replied. All council members agreed to strip Cordelius of his title as a brawler and forget the way to this forest. What? Shelly didn't want to come to this, but the council stood firm. This punishment wasn't the harshest. He had acted much worse, ruining the girl's entire life. Let all fighters know that just as one can become a brawler, everything can be lost. But what about Lily in this case? She has no one and nothing. She needs help. Byron asked what she was capable of. Shelly didn't know. She suggested sending Lily to the training ring. Maybe she will show something. When she went there, Lily demonstrated everything Cordelius had taught her. She possessed incredible abilities. She will replace Cordelius. It's decided. Lily became the new mythical fighter of the ring. Shelly didn't know whether to be happy or not. She didn't want this punishment for Cordelius. How can she look him in the eye now? 2 weeks have passed since Lily became a brawler. She found herself many new friends, and no one told Cordelius that he was no longer a brawler. He was alone in the forest. Shelly asked them to go and talk to him with Lily. They feel very sorry for him. They can't just forget about him.
He acted like a monster, but we are not monsters, Lily.
Lily didn't want to go back there at all, but they really aren't monsters. Cordelius was devastated. He saw no more meaning in life. All this time he was lying and suffering, doing nothing.
Hey, Cordelius!
Did he hear it, or did someone really come to him? Raising his head, he saw Lily with Shelly. Running up to her, the ex-brawler begged her forgiveness as best he could. He is a monster, the worst in the world, selfish. Shelly asked him to calm down.
Cordelius, we didn't just come like that. We have important news for you. For 2 weeks now, you haven't been a brawler.
How he is not a brawler?
The council find out, or rather I told about everything so that they would help Lily. You were stripped of everything and replaced with her. She became a new brawler.
Hearing this, Cordelius was not upset at all. He was glad for Lily. He needed nothing but her forgiveness. Lily could hardly hold on. It is very difficult to forgive this. But she made it clear to him that she would try. Cordelius asked what would happen to him now. It is not clear yet, but Shelly wanted to offer something. She was haunted by one thought. She could not get Cordelius out of the forest. Maybe Lily could do it. She came out that day easily. Shelly asked Lily to take Cordelius' hand and try to get him out of the forest. There is some belief that she can free him from his prison. Cordelius could not believe his ears. He had not seen the world for years, and then Shelly gives him hope.
Lily, promise you will never come back here. Let's try to help him one last time. Forget everything, and please help him.
Lily felt incredibly sorry for Cordelius. It is better to try once and never return here again than just turn around and leave. She took his hand and they began to walk to the exit. Cordelius prayed that everything would work out. This was his last hope. If nothing happens, he will commit suicide. He just walked forward and believed. Shelly's heart was beating very fast. They reached the gate. There are a few steps left before the exit. Come on, guys! Shelly froze in place. He came out! He came out! He came out of the forest! Lily managed to heal him. Thanks to her, the curse is gone. My God, how happy Cordelius was! No one in the world was happier than him. He hugged Lily and said that she was his savior. Nothing would have happened without her. Shelly was very glad. Now Cordelius is free. At this moment, Lily realized something. Undoubtedly, Cordelius turned her life upside down, ruined it, but now she found friends, became a brawler, and also, thanks to everything, she was able to save Cordelius from eternal imprisonment in the forest. What could be better? Save someone who really needs it. At that moment, she truly forgave him. Cordelius was on cloud 9 with happiness. He was going to go and travel the world. Thank God that everything ended just like that. Everyone was happy. And this is the main thing. You must always be able to forgive, no matter how difficult it is. It would seem that Lily's life is ruined. But no, she found the strength to become a brawler. She made many friends, and most importantly, she saved Cordelius. Maybe that was her destiny in this life. Never lose hope, no matter how it seemed that this is the end. After all, Cordelius thought so, Lily thought so, but now they are happy. Now, three things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love.